Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Special Team Sunday Araby team. We are spending some time every week looking at some of the best unofficial teams available for Blood Bowl. So this team here is from the FUMBBL Secret League. We've mentioned this many times, and there are many dozens, scores, almost 100 teams I think, in the FUMBBL Secret League. Now, all of these rules are available. You can go, you can log on, and you can play any of these teams right now on FUMBBL. So with the Araby team, I played a game against Milton last week at some point, played against Black Orcs. It was a really cool game, and it's just more Blood Bowl. Really, more Blood Bowl is more better, and it's a different way to play. So let's have a look at the Araby team. So Araby is an area in the Warhammer world that's kind of underexplored really. Games Workshop have always put bits of fluff in there, bits of history, a couple of units, a couple of models, things like that. They've hinted at Araby. Now Araby really has a kind of Arabian Nights theme, is probably the best way to put it. So the team here is a really interesting one, and the most unique element here is that they have a 0-1 positional. And that positional is the Sheik. And the Sheik starts with Ag 4 and Leader. So you've got a team here that just from the get-off, has a very important leader player, literally with the skill leader, but also has that one Ag 4 piece. And the fact that he performs the role of a reroll as well, for a bargain of 100k, makes the roster really interesting. Now, on the downside, this roster has got frenzy players, there's no block anywhere in sight, you do have sure hands, which is really useful, and the majority of the players are armor 7, so it is kind of a vulnerable team as well. Probably should mention this, that FUMBBL is still running the 2016 rules. Now, while there are Secret League rules for 2020, for Blood Bowl 2020, Blood Bowl as it is now, the system is currently running the old edition, so we are going to be using that because we haven't got a chance to play a ton of Blood Bowl 2020 games with the Secret League yet. Anyway, let's have a look at the players. So 0-16 linemen. These are Bedouin linemen, general, and all the other bits on the double skill. So 0-16 of these, they're 14k a piece, movement 6, strength 3, ag 3, armor 7. They are thralls, they are hobgoblins, they are just normal but actually really good linemen. These guys were great. Alright, the armor was hurt a little bit, but at 40k what happens is you basically buy 4 get 1 free, which is not a bad way to run a team on a Blood Bowl team, because I have learnt the hard way that having armor value 7 is a vulnerability for your team. Skaven and most recently my nobility team, having extra players, having a 12th or a 13th player when you've got a core of a team that's AV 7 is really useful, and you get that with these. And there's no vulnerability, there's no downside. Movement 6, cracking. Strength 3, brilliant. Ag 3, fine. So these guys do exactly what you need them to do for a bargain price of 40k. And the team actually gets thrower pieces as well. So 60k, 0-2 of them, Bedouin throwers, movement 6, strength 3, ag 3, armor 7, sure hands, and pass. Now sure hands is a little bit underrepresented when it comes to the secret teams. It's too reliable a skill to see all that often, but basically what we've got here is the humans, the linemen and the throwers are basically human linemen and human throwers with 1 less armor and 10k less. So that makes them really useful. And being able to take 2 at a bargain price of 120, again, it's a cheaper way of playing humans. Yeah, the armor's down, but your thrower isn't normally getting punched all that often. And you will be able to have 2 of them, basically, in any roster. So if one does get absolutely slaughtered, you're going to have another sure hands piece. And pass did absolutely come in handy. Now, this is Blood Bowl 16 rules. And if this roster ends up mimicking the human roster, just with armor lowered as well, hey, having a cheeky pass 2+ skill in the future could be great for these throwers. Actually, that sure hands piece meant that I had 2 throwers and my Sheik, Ag 2+, hey, I'm finally getting used to 2020. Ag 4 and 2 sure hands pieces meant I had 3 solid ball receivers. It was good. But I thought this was pretty cool. So 0-2 Eunuchs, these are absolute big boys. Okay, movement 5, strength 4, Ag 2, armor 8. They are armor busted Black Orcs, essentially. No, that's not right. Armor busted faster Black Orcs. Armor busted Chaos. I don't know. They're a weird piece, but they do a superb job. You've got no skills. There's no skills, there's no agility, but having that strength 4 piece and armor 8 really helped hold my line. I was happy to invest these guys in my second tier of defense, and when they got involved, they were throwing a ton of blocks. Now, I was playing against a Black Orc team. Now, Black Orc with strength 4 versus the Eunuch with strength 4, actually, well, I was playing against 6 Black Orcs and a Troll. The Eunuchs did a great job of just holding their own. And the cool thing about these pieces, they have General and Strength, so they can develop exactly how you want them to. They are a blocker. Block needs to come first for these guys, but they have the option then of going block guard, and at that point your strength 3 players with no skills start becoming strength 4. And potentially, where the next piece we look at has Frenzy, these guys provide a really solid anvil for your Frenzy person to hammer around. And those hammer pieces are the dervishes. Okay, 0 to 4 general and strength on single skills. 0 to 4 of them at 100k apiece. They are the most expensive player on this team. Movement 7 though, strength 3, edge 3 and armor 8 basically makes these guys your blitzers. There is a slight downside. It's an interesting one. It seems like this week is kind of sponsored by Frenzy, but these guys do have Frenzy. They also come with Sidestep, which is really interesting. So most of the time, you can lead them to just Frenzy on their merry little way. They've got Sidestep, so even if there is a counterpunch, even if they end up near to the sidelines, they are going to be able to escape. Now, with that said, I actually ran a roster with only 2 of my 4. I was very aware that I was going to be up against some stronger teams, and when I faced the Black Orcs, I was pretty glad of that. And also, on a team having 4 Frenziers, especially early on with no guard support, no block, it seemed a little risky. Now, I played a ton of Khorne, and having that Frenzy without skills or backup is a surefire way to melt your rerolls. And in Blood Bowl 16, it's only 1 reroll a turn. In Blood Bowl 2020, it's going to be very different, because if you end up pickling yourself by frenzying into a bad situation, it may cost you a few of your rerolls, but if you have to save 1 block and then do another one and then do it with that guy over there, it's going to be fine because you've got a few in the bank. Wasn't the case with the 2016 rules. So I ran 2 of these guys and they were fantastic. Basically, I had 2 contingents, a lineman, a Eunuch with my strength 4 bit there, and the dervish in 2 pairs, and they just destroyed Black Orcs. It was fantastic. The dude could block 1, then he could block it on. We had an assist. This guy could frenzy. He had 2 assists at that point. It was 2 die block, 2 die block, 2 die block. It was fantastic. Took out the Black Orcs and absolutely managed to control the pitch. So the cool thing here is you've got that high strength piece, and you've got these Frenziers. They're also movement 7 and had sidestep, so they're going to be really fast as well. They will fall into frenzy traps every now and again, but if you play them carefully, they are fantastic. Unlike this player, who I found to be complete garbage. Nah, I'm just joking. Movement 7, strength 3, edge 4, armor 7, and comes with leader, the Sheik. You get 1 of them for 100 flipping K. What an absolute bargain. General and agility as well. This guy scored 2 touchdowns in my game, and now is a edge 4 dodger. Don't have block yet. That's coming next. This guy was great, okay? I had my 2 throwers, so I had my sure hands pieces. The Sheik therefore filled that kind of middle ground. If I needed to get hold of the ball and pass it on, bearing in mind this is old rules, this guy was right there. If I needed to play a passing game, this guy was right there. If I needed to break through, take a risky dodge, take that 2+ into the open, he was right there. And with movement 7, he was everywhere I wanted him to be. It was fantastic. Now, the whole point of this team is it's built around 1 Sheik, and they're bodyguard of players. The Sheik's gone, you know what? I want to play Blood Bowl. I want to be the star of Blood Bowl. I've had my training. Basically, Pete from Friends. If you guys have seen that episode where he decides to be the Ultimate Fighting Championship champion, the Sheik is doing that. I'm going to win Blood Bowl, and I want you 2 massive dudes. Let's take you 2 psychopaths. You're pretty handy with the ball, and you peasants as well. Come along and let's form a Blood Bowl team, but I'm in charge. This guy is in charge. He is the best player on the pitch. He did a great job, and you cannot be without him. You cannot be without the Sheik. The Sheik is the heart of the team. I mean, the team's pretty good without the Sheik, but the Sheik just fits in, and that sweet edge 4 gives you so many options. This team does not miss combat power. With a couple of strength 4 eunuchs and 2 to 4 frenzy pieces, doesn't miss out on combat power. So this being your kind of leading elf in the background is wonderful. So we're going to have a look at the starting roster now. There are 2 starting rosters, but this is the one I went with. So this comes in bang on $1 million gold. I had 6 linemen, 2 throwers for that sure hands, ball collecting, and pass is quite useful too. 2 eunuchs for my strength 4 blocking ability. No actual block, but they're the guys who do the blocks. 2 dervishes. I only took 2 of the 4 frenzy dervishes. And you know what? It was fine. I also pulled off a Sheik and 3 rerolls. So if you do a couple of things different, you can drop 2 linemen, take you down to 11 players, and you can drop a reroll at that point and upgrade 2 more linemen to have 4 dervishes. So I went with 13 players, 3 rerolls plus leader. You can instead go 11 players, 2 rerolls, and 4 of your frenzy pieces. Now, I was very aware that 4 frenzy pieces with 2.5 rerolls was a little bit optimistic. So I had the spare lineman, and the team is, you know, the lineman at armor 7, there is no block anywhere, they are potentially vulnerable to get smushed. Plus I had my head in the game of actually, if I was going to be running this in league, I'm going to lose a lineman at some point, but a reroll is going to cost me 120, whereas just buying another dervish is going to cost me 100. I do know that getting these guys early means they become block frenzy earlier on, but actually I wanted the reliability, and it paid off beautifully. I had all the rerolls I needed to score, and I think just after half time it was 3-0. It was brilliant. The Araby team did a great job of being able to just put the pressure on with the eunuchs backed up with the dervishes to get some very good 2-die frenzy blocks, and I actually think that having 2 frenzy pieces was enough. For the start, okay, it was enough for the start of the team because it meant that I could stack 2 lots of good blocks. If I had 4 frenzy pieces with 2 rerolls, I think I would have struggled. I think I would have ended up frenzying myself down an extra player or so. And if you go that build, you only have 11 players. This one, you've got 2 frenzy pieces, potentially 4 rerolls most of the time, and 2 guys on the bench. You can lose a lineman, you're good to go. You can take a cheeky foul, lose a second lineman, you're good to go. And you can pull off shenanigans because you've got the rerolls. Really enjoyed it. Was really surprised. Miniatures wise for the Araby team, there are so many options out there. But I've been eyeing this up for a little while. I've been eyeing this up since Lockdown Bowl, or maybe the one after, where there was one of the guys ran a ninja team, again from FUMBBL, and we're definitely going to look at that because it's a very, very cool team. In fact, we'll do that one next week. But I found this 3D set, 3D printable set. It's 3D printable Arabian Nights Warriors from Titan Forge Miniatures. Now, at some point, when I've finished all the YouTube teams, I will be able to just explore with some things. And this is going to be one of the first teams I do. These miniatures here come with different hands, so I can build the team like that if I want to. If I want to just take a human set and do head swaps, I can, then use these guys for dervishes. I'll need to find some models appropriate for eunuchs, but actually I have nothing wrong with, I have nothing against just using a couple of Black Orc miniatures. That's basically what they do. Or get a couple of Chaos Warriors or something, just some big dudes just to represent that strength 4. Absolutely superb. Something special will be needed for the Sheik, but actually there's a ton of miniatures I can do that with, and one of these heads on a Dark Elf would probably be fine. It would give that kind of element of high agility. But the cool thing is about all of these teams is there is a theme there. There is a theme there, and there are some players. So you've got one elf, you've got a bunch of humans, and you've got a couple of big dudes, you know, a couple of big Black Orcs or something. That's a really cool Badlands themed team, you know, and you got some frenzy pieces, strength 3 frenzy pieces. You could go with some Norse guys, all right, and you got a really cool team. I've got 1 elf, 2 Black Orcs, or like half ogres or something. There's just so much you can do as long as those pieces are representative of what they kind of do on the pitch. You can go crazy. So this is on my to buy list because I want to do some head swaps with a human team, probably use these bodies, maybe scale them up to be the dervishes, find a cool mini for the Sheik, use a couple of bruiser looking models for the dervishes, and the team's good to go. So all in all, I really liked the Araby team. Now, in a league, they are going to suffer from that Armor 7 victimization. Okay, they've got expensive-ish positionals, they've got medium-cost rerolls, so they're going to struggle. And when they transport over to 2020, I don't think they're going to get hurt much. I don't think they're going to get hurt much at all. The passing game really isn't that important. The Sheik is quite good, so probably going to end up with a passing of 3+ because there's 1 of him. And that's fine because a pass of 3+ is okay and you're not going to be doing that most of the time anyway. I can't see the costs being changed as well. I don't think that's needed. So the Araby team is cool. It's got its own unique flavour of one leader and a bunch of dudes. There's not too many different types of dudes. There might be one too many levels of positionals, but actually I'm fine with it. It's nowhere near kind of Norse stackage of positionals. I loved it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was really interesting, and I could see this being a team in the future, completely redesigned. But Araby, Cathay, stuff like that, Games Workshop have got the absolute scope to open up human world, the human element of the old world, of the Warhammer world, and go that way. And I really enjoyed it. So thank you for those of you who suggested doing the Araby team. Sorry it took so long, but I wanted to actually make sure I played a game with the team to get to grips with how it felt. It felt cool. It is a cool team. I look forward to playing it on the tabletop at some point. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of the Araby team. And next week we'll do Ninjas, or the Nippon team. Nippon South, I think, is the one we'll do, because it's got ninjas and it's wicked. Right, I'm going to disappear. Thank you ever so much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.